a year in which taxpayers had more trouble reaching the IRS by telephone than any year in history. That is unacceptable, and it also imposes huge burdens on taxpayers. One solution we should consider that might help solve this problem for our first responders is a bipartisan bill that I have called Putting First Responders First Act. Since 1985, service-connected disability compensation has been tax exempt following Revenue Ruling 85-105. But oftentimes, IRS auditors are not aware of Revenue Ruling 85-105 and demand that injured first responders in Montana and across the country pay taxes on their injury-related compensation. It's also not uncommon for first responders who are often facing significant life changes to be unaware of the revenue ruling and unnecessarily pay sizable tax bills. So passing this bill at Senate Bill 1618 would codify the principle of this revenue ruling, and it would clarify that this injury-related compensation is, in fact, tax exempt, just as Revenue Ruling 85-105 states. Further complicating this situation is that injury-related compensation does become taxable once a first responder reaches the retirement age of 65, although his or her injuries remain and the individual's retirement compensation level is limited due to prematurely leaving the workforce. So the Putting First Responders First Act would provide clarity to both IRS employees and first responders and keeps injury-related compensation tax exempt after the retirement age. I think it's the least we can do for them after their heroic efforts throughout the pandemic and through today. Turning to my questions, Ms. Collins, do you think that Putting First Responders First Act would serve a dual purpose of relieving our disabled first responders of the burden imposed by erroneous audits, while also removing any doubt from the minds of IRS auditors that service-connected disability compensation is tax exempt?
Yeah, IRS agents should be following the revenue ruling, but as you stated, codifying it takes it to a higher level of authority, and I think that would be something that the IRS would be agents should follow the law.
Just to drill a bit further on that, and this could be for Ms. Collins as well as Ms. Lewis, let's say a disabled first responder receives a notice from the IRS that they are being audited. What type of luck might they have if they pick up the phone to call the IRS to explain the situation?
I guess the good news is if you're under IRS audit, you don't have to call the toll-free line. You get to talk to the revenue agent. So you don't have the same challenges of calling that 800 toll-free line.
So we have any idea if we basically about a 1 in 10 shot right now on the regular line, what are the odds if you're audited to call this other line?
I don't know if we have any statistics, but it would be better. Anything would be better than 11%.
Well, you can't fall out of a basement, I think,
right.
They say.
But I think the real challenge is, educating. Unfortunately, not every IRS agent is familiar with every code section. If we were to put the codes in front of us, the Internal Revenue Code is, I don't know how many inches thick. It is a very complex document. So I think we have to make sure we educate IRS agents. But if it is codified, it should be easier for them to find and follow the law.
Ms. Collins?
Senator, I agree with Ms. Collins' comments that if it was a full-blown audit, you actually have an auditor assigned to you, maybe that would help. But in reality, what happens is it's not an audit. It's a notice. It's a notice that comes that says that the income doesn't match and call this 800 number, and that's where the problem lies, just along with all of these other notices we're talking about, these matching notices or whatever. It's not a full-blown audit, and I wish I could offer some luck.
Just in fairness, so anytime you get a letter from the IRS, and you may know it's not a full-blown audit, but I can tell you if you want to get the pulse rate going and the blood pressure up, a little note from the IRS saying something's wrong. Yeah.
Yes. And that's my point, is that our clients are getting these and worrying about these. They don't, it's a big, long official notice, and it looks very scary. And I hate that. we deal with it every day. And so that notice needs to be responded to, again, adding to the backlog of the phones and the notices when you know that that tax return is correct.
All right, I'm out of time. Well, I just went to the IRS.gov site. Before I came to Congress, I was part of a software company that helps improve the customer experience. I just a recommendation here, when you go to that IRS.gov, there's a search tab up there. If you hit search and then put in disability compensation, you actually can find some pretty good information. But then it says, how can we help you? If you go down here and go down to your get answers to your tax questions, and then you put in disability compensation, nothing pops up. It's a real simple, easy fix. And I just would encourage you all to think about customer service from the end working in, not from the in working out. Thank you.
Thank my